Then let's begin the recording, and off we go. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Beall and Butterworth Design and Product Development Competitions. For those of you who don't know, my name is David Ochi. I am very pleased to be your host tonight and working with you on these competitions. I'm an anteater from way back, far longer than I will ever admit, but it's wonderful to be here working with all of you and to discuss with you the kickoff event for the Beall Student Design and Butterworth Product Development Competitions. As you can tell, we're in a virtual environment, which pretty much changes everything. In the norm, normally we would get you up on a nice room with a view and a bunch of us all together sitting far less than socially distanced, and then enjoying some nice food, pizza, and drinks and everything out on a patio in the nice winter weather. But instead, we're all going to have one more Zoom to go through. So it's wonderful to see all of you guys, and we're excited to be here with you. So I want to take just a couple minutes to give you an idea as to what the competition's about, and we're going to end up hearing from some great speakers about the importance of them. But the key element of this competition really is about bringing people together across campus, but specifically around engineering and computer science, to help them take some ideas and really try to go beyond the theoretical, put it into practical application. And so a lot of what this competition encourages is the exploration of projects that can actually be turned into products and focusing on those design elements that might be valuable. Now, the Butterworth competition and the Beall competition always get, I'll call it shuffled, and it's understandable to say what's the difference between the two. And the reality is they're very closely intertwined, and they have a long history together as being a competition. But effectively, the goal of the Butterworth competition is to promote computer scientists and product development. Right? It's really about finding ways to turn ideas in computer science into products. Now, the namesake, Paul Butterworth, and I'm going to read this so I don't butcher it, is a noted technology leader with a lengthy career of demonstrated innovation and business success. Currently, Paul is the co-founder and CTO of Vantic. Past roles include founder and CTO of Emotive, where he conceived and designed the Emotive cloud platform for enterprise mobile computing, architect at Oracle, founder and CTO at AmberPoint, where he directed the technical strategy for the AmberPoint SOA governance products, distinguished engineer and chief technologist for Sun Microsystems, and founder and chief architect for Forte Software, an internet application development company. Paul also served as chief systems architect at Ingress. Paul also holds an undergraduate and graduate degrees in computer science from UCI, and has been honored in ICS's Alumni Hall of Fame and UCI's Lauds and Laurels. Paul is also an active member of the ICS Dean's Leadership Council and UCI Board of Trustees. And what this namesake, Paul, what he's really done is said, how can we help students at UCI in computer sciences really take these concepts and turn them into actual products? And it's part of the impetus of the growth in this 11th year of doing this towards how do you go beyond just a class project to really think about how to turn this into a product that could eventually turn into potentially a company or a real product out in the marketplace. Now, the focus around that typically is around software. The Beall competition came a few years later, where the focus was, well, what if we add a hardware element to this? Now, you don't have to have a hardware, but generally with an engineering student on the Beall side or a computer science student on the Butterworth side, they tend to focus hardware or software. And we'll go into the details of what that means. But again, it's designed to create this culture within the School of Engineering that encourages the entrepreneurial spirit and turning these class projects and these ideas that you've come up with while being a student and turning it into something that's going to be real. To give you an idea about Mr. Beall, if you're not familiar with Mr. Beall, he is all over this campus. He and his family have done a tremendous amount of work. But Mr. Beall retired from Rockwell in 1998 after a 30-year career. He served as chairman and CEO or president and COO for 20 years. Rockwell was a global leader in aerospace, electronics, and automotive markets. Currently, he is a partner in Dartbrook Partners, a family partnership, and the chairman of the Beall Family Foundation. His wife, Joan, and their two sons, Jeff and Ken, are active in the management of both Dartbrook Partners and the Beall Family Foundation. Mr. Beall is very involved in the University of California, Irvine. That is an understatement of the year. He serves on several advisory boards and executive committees in a number of disciplines, including the UCI Paul Merage School of Business Dean's Advisory Board, Executive Committee, and the Don Beall Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship Advisory Board, and the UCI Henry Samueli School of Engineering Advisory Board. If you're not familiar with the Beall family, they're a phenomenal, wonderful, supportive family foundation and people of all of the efforts at UCI. Their names are in many places, including the School of the Arts, the Beall Applied Innovation Programs, right, and as well the Beall Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So we have two named people behind this competition that's really interested in the value of product design and development and really turning ideas into reality. So with that, what I'd like to do is we have some very special speakers. The first of which I'd like to introduce is we simply call him Dean Marios, because if I tried to do anything with that last name, I would embarrass myself far more. I spent a month trying to practice it with his staff telling me how to pronounce it, and I gave up after a month. But I will leave it to Dean Marios to give us a few introductory remarks from the School of Computer Science.
David, thank you so much. Welcome everyone. This is obviously a very unusual way to kick off the Beall Butterworth competition. Usually we are on the 6th floor of Brent Hall. There's a lot of food involved. We have more than 30 participants, but even 30 participants under the circumstances are, I think that's a great turnout, and I'm really glad to see so much interest in the competition this year, even though it's happening in this virtual mode. Entrepreneurship is one of my passions. It's not only about creating new companies and making money and all that. That's what you read in the newspapers, and it's part of the deal. But I think it goes way beyond that. It's a mindset, and you can be entrepreneurial in large organizations. You can work for, name your favorite exciting company, and you still get a lot of mileage by being entrepreneurial as opposed to just another person working in a cubicle. You can be entrepreneurial and start nonprofits that don't necessarily make you a millionaire, but they make you a super useful member of our society. So I think it's a great opportunity for all of us and our students to get into that mindset, wherever that leads us. Central to entrepreneurship is to get something tangible done, right? Whether it's a product that you sell for money or some service that you provide to the society at cost. But again, for me, it's really exciting to have this opportunity, courtesy of Paul Butterworth, who is an alum, and courtesy of Don Beall, who is a benefactor of our campus, to allow our students to basically test the waters and get some of this excitement and get a more structured exposure to the things that they ought to understand before they decide, is this something I want to do more of, or is this something that was a great part of my education at UCI and it's going to be with me for some time. So welcome. I don't want to take more than that. I think this is really exciting. I'm really excited to see so many people on the call. I want to say a big thank you to our judges and our mentors. If without them, none of that would be happening. Obviously, David and the rest of our development team is doing a phenomenal job. But again, without the mentors and the judges, this wouldn't be happening. And mind you, most of them are alums. So remember, when you go out and you're successful, come back to help us do even more of that. David.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the thoughts. And yes, we even this webinar format, we don't have the judges and the mentors visible right now, but I assure you, looking in, we've got a handful of them in there, and as maybe we'll find a chance to recognize them along the way. So moving from here, thank you, Dean Marios. We're going to move to Interim Dean Green of Engineering. I had to spend a little less than a month working on his name, so I appreciate that. But Interim Dean Green, we welcome you with open arms and would love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, David, and welcome to everybody. Thank you all for being here today during this virtual kickoff for the Beall Butterworth Design Competition season. While I was listening to David's welcome, reviewing the goals of the competition, I also want to acknowledge the foundation of the creation of this competition. Turning research ideas into new products and services has been and continues to be integral to the University of California's mission to help keep the state competitive in the global high-tech economy. In the Samueli School of Engineering, we support our researchers with strategies for commercialization that help them bridge the gap from the lab to the marketplace. For our students, it is our mission to provide hands-on experiential learning opportunities to provide the skills required to tackle today's global complexities. Engineers are solving today's grand challenges through research and innovation. The Samueli School believes that it's our job to foster an environment for our students and faculty where innovation can flourish. The Beall Butterworth Design Competition is one platform for you and all of our students to impact the future through your great ideas, innovation, and design. I'll just join Dean Marios by acknowledging the continued support and dedication to fostering innovation and entrepreneurship, both from Paul Butterworth and Don Ken and the Beall family, without whose support this competition wouldn't be possible. We're grateful for all of their partnership in this mission, not only at the two schools, but throughout UCI. And best of luck to everybody.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that, Dean Green. It's always wonderful to have the support from the deans and the dean's office, and it really makes a big difference when we turn to faculty and staff and everything, and frankly even the students recognize it. So we certainly appreciate you guys taking some time today to share your thoughts and to send the students off with some well wishes. That's greatly appreciated. So let's jump, if we can, into a little bit about the competition itself. We mentioned this, but I'll say it again. It's really about promoting excellence in product design and development of the both engineering and computer science students, but really broadly across the entire campus. It used to be only engineering and computer science students. Several years ago, we expanded that so that you could create teams that were cross-collaborative. I'll give you a little tip if you're involved, if you're one of the students listening, get a cross-collaborative team. You will find not just that the value of making relationships across campus valuable, bringing finance or marketing or humanities experience or whatever it might be too. The thinking process is different around campus, and you will find that as you go through the user experiences and really try to develop a design, not everyone that will use your product is a computer scientist or an engineer. And so you get an outside perspective, but from within your team, and that really can make a big difference. So that, of course, emphasizes this is open to all UCI students. It is not exclusive strictly to engineering or computer science. In the case of Butterworth, you have to have at least one ICS student to compete. That means you don't have to have more than one. You can, of course, but you only are required to have one. And Beall is the same way. You only have to have one engineering student that's a matriculated student. But the one condition is you can't recruit from people from outside your team or outside of the school. Meaning if you can get Mark Zuckerberg, that's really cool. You don't need our competition at that point. Just use Mark for everything, right? But try not to, for the competition's sake, we're going to keep you pretty well focused on working as a student group. And we'll talk about that. There was one question that I saw that came up. I'll mention that now. And that is, I'm not ICS or engineering. Can I still join? And the answer is absolutely you can. Some of the best design concepts don't come from an engineering or computer science student. You can absolutely do that. You will in the end, by the time you submit your final paper and your final demo, you will have to have either for the Butterworth, a computer science student, or for the Beall, an engineering student. You will have to have at least one on board, but it's not something that you have to start with. So in other words, if you are a business student or something, now's the chance to start finding an ICS student or an engineering student, and we're going to find ways to help facilitate you being able to do that without any real trouble. So great question though. That's whoever asked that. That's a good one. So many people want to know how much money they're going to make. That's totally fine. I don't blame you. The answer is a lot. If you win, of course. If you don't win, the answer is not a lot. So, but we have 3 prizes that we give out. This is for each of the competitions, meaning it's not just combined or anything. Each side, Beall and Butterworth, will be the first place team will be winning $10,000, followed by $6,500 and $3,500. And it's so in total between the 2 competitions, it's $40,000 in cash awards And we're looking to try to find ways to even up that if we can. But it's really something where you get an opportunity, of course, to make some money. There are no restrictions on what you do with the winnings. It's your money. However, what we do find is that many of the students continue with their project. They see the value, they get into incubators, they get involved in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and that little bit of seed money goes a long way. And it can really make a big difference in the end. And in fact, one of the things we wanted to take some time to do is to introduce you to two students, former students, who have competed and have done well in the competition, and one from engineering and one from computer science. We'll go ladies first with Ayushi Patel from Sensen. She is a recent alum from, I guess, about a year and a half ago now. But she is one that will tell you some great stories about what she's been able to do. So Ayushi, it's all you.
Thanks, David. So hi, everyone. I'm Ayushi Patel, co-founder and CEO of Sensen. So we actually, so Beall was one of my most favorite business competitions. And before I get into the whole experience, we had participated in NVC, another one in Texas, and a couple other ones locally. But I personally thought that having the alumni judges give you the collaborative feedback was second to none. And I do remember coming back from my first session and telling David that this is by far the best experience I've had in a business competition. So my team of biomedical engineers, what we did is we actually found a couple people in the business school to help us expand the perspectives. As engineers, we can be a bit siloed and very much in love with our product that we can lose sight of how to explain it. So with that being said, I'd always be open to provide any feedback. I'll leave my LinkedIn link as well. So after we did Beall competition in place, this money went a long way. And I'll just give a brief journey. So after we graduated, we started Sensen. We incorporated the company. We used the money to get our patents filed, get the product done. I still remember when we went to the competition as a pitch, all the wires were hanging out as we were doing our live demo. But I can proudly say now that we have a finished product. We've raised some angel capital. We've actually collected healthy human data, showed it to doctors, and are actually raising more money to get a study started with UC Irvine. So this will take you a long way, and do not underestimate what it can do for you. And I highly encourage, as engineers, the biggest thing is how do we communicate the need? And there's it's an iterative process of us designing it, taking it to the customers, hearing the feedback, and then continuing that loop. So this will be a great experience. Even the slides, as you slog through them for the pitch deck, you will always remember these days. So best wishes, and happy to help in any way that I can.
Thanks, Ayushi. I will say that your prototype was one of those not looks like prototypes, as we call it, where it looks like what the final product will be. Yours was a works like. It had wires hanging everywhere, and you were holding things together, and someone was behind there, like making sure the wire didn't come loose. I mean, it was one of those experiences. But it's been fun to see you advance and cruise. Do you have one tidbit of advice you'd give the teams that helped you do so well in the competition?
Wow, there's not one I can really condense, but just think of this as, I know it's a product design and we have to take the focus is on technology, but don't forget the why. Like, who cares if you make this design refinement, or how does it create the impact? Because it's hard to remember the design feature. It's easy to remember the impact. So always tie it back to what the value is, and you'll find it easy to do the design process as well. I don't know if that would help, but.
Nope, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thanks again, Ayushi. Before we jump, we'll let your pretty image stay on the screen for everybody. And there's a couple of questions that have come in. One of them was, is there a limit to the size of the team? And the answer is there's a practical limit. You probably don't want more than 5, maybe 6 on your team. Once you get above that, it becomes unwieldy. We have had larger teams. I don't know that we've ever put a formal limit in, but I wouldn't recommend going beyond 5 or 6. It usually just becomes too difficult to try to manage as a team. But we don't have a formal rule. That we do have a minimum. You have to have at least 2, but no maximum that's formal. Of course, the winnings will be diluted if you have too many people on the team. I will say that if that's we don't give $10,000 per person on the team. That's for sure. There's another question: was if we win, does it impact financial aid? That is a wonderful question. Whomever asked that, there's very much. It depends on your situation. It can make a difference. One of the things you'll be doing when you get to that point in the competition where you're actually submitting, you'll identify all the team members. We'll gather all the information we need to be able to make sure we can pay you in a timely manner. It's possible based on your situation that it does impact. If it does impact, or if there's going to be a potential impact, let us know, and we'll try to find a way that it's always possible for you to let another team member get all the money. You're welcome to avoid the pain and ask them to buy you all of your cereal for the year or whatever it is. So that's certainly possible. Another one that came up was asking if there's a place where you can see, and Brian put in an answer that yes, you can actually go to the website, which we'll pull here, but it's tech.uci.edu/competitions, and you can actually see some of the past winners and the past teams. In fact, one of the projects we're doing is trying to dig further back and then see if we can follow some of these people. More important than following the concept is following the people that we're involved in. And what we find is when we follow those LinkedIns, many of them end up with, even if it's not a full-blown company, that they've got a side hustle that they've developed that they're working on that really becomes valuable. So, crew, thanks for that great question. One other one for the two UCI entrepreneurs: can you please leave your emails? So if you're open to meetings, it would be immensely helpful to talk with you. That's up to them. I'll let Ayushi and Zach decide on that. But if you're willing and able, or want to share your LinkedIn or whatever it is, feel free, either or both of you, to put that into the chat window. So great questions. So while Zach is now typing, I'm going to throw him under the bus and say that Zach is the young guy in that picture that's got the biggest smile on the planet. Because he's got a $10,000 check in his hand. That probably didn't hurt. But Zach Little had a great concept 2 years ago when we last did the competition. So Zach, would love to have you give us a few words about your success and what you recommend to some of the teams that are coming after you here.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for having me, everyone. I have a couple minutes, so I'll just get right into it. So one of the things I really want to highlight is how much of a gift it is to have this competition available to you. It's very rare that you're encouraged to create something new and blaze your own path while being surrounded by people who have done it before and have experienced mentors to help you and have a prize to go after. All of these things give you some guardrails around your projects and your initiatives, but they make it easier to succeed faster. And I really just want to highlight how real of an opportunity this is for everyone. When I first started in this competition, and I see this sometimes with other competitions as well, when you're at the start, the end can seem kind of ambiguous and it can seem kind of far away. You can almost not really internally feel that someone's going to win. But the truth is someone's going to walk away with $10,000 at the end of this. Each track is going to walk away with 20 grand. This is a real opportunity, and take it seriously. My experience in this competition, I did not come in with a team. I'm not a great developer or programmer. I came in with nothing but an idea that I wanted to build. And I was able to find people who wanted to work on it with me. I was able to recruit developers, and I was able to, at the end of the day, build something cool that I thought would help other people. And that's one of the pieces of advice I would give in this is we don't need another Uber clone or a photo sharing app. We need unique things that are aimed to solve big problems. So as much as possible, that's what I feel I was able to do in the competition, is cast a vision about something that was exciting and helpful and would be cool in the world. And that's what I encourage more than anything is think of something unique to you that you're really going to care about and you're really going to be on fire for, that you want to bring into the world, and do that as much as possible. What Ayushi said, I really agree with. It's the design aspect itself is important, and this is a software competition. So you have to build something real. And at the same time, facts tell, but stories sell. So the way that you explain what you've built and why it's going to matter and who it's for and what change it's going to make in the world is going to matter just as much. So what I would say is, how do you win this thing? Think big and work really hard. There's a Thomas Edison quote attributed to him anyway, which is genius is 1% inspiration, but 99% perspiration. So we just worked really hard. That's how we won. Like, we took this thing seriously. We outworked everybody else in the track, and it allowed us to have a product that at the end of the day was successful. And as a result of the competition, what I've been able to do from this, again, this is tying back to the fact that this is a real opportunity. I was able to be selected for a fellowship from Techstars and from Blackstone Launchpad, where they gave us another set of seed money to do a 3-month fellowship over the summer and continue on in building. As a result of that as well, I was able to get selected to sponsor one of the project classes at UCI. And that went well, so we're scheduled to sponsor another one in the upcoming quarter. And people support you when you're doing things, when you're making things happen and you're moving forward. I'll close with 3 quick tactical pieces of feedback or advice, if you want to take it that way. Seek out mentors and listen to what they say. When I was going through, I wasn't assigned a mentor, but I found people that could help me, and I did what they advised. Next is rehearse your demo and your pitch deck. You don't want to be that person who's showing up to the demo day and something breaks, or you're not going to know what you're going to say. Rehearse what you're going to do. And then just, this is the thing that I think solves all problems, is build something that you think is going to be cool, that you think is going to help the world. Don't try to do something because you think it's going to make money. Build something because you get to set your own path and do something creative. And with that, I'll close out, but I think this is an amazing opportunity and I wish you all the best of luck. I left my email and my LinkedIn in the chat here, so feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help if there's anything I can do.
That's awesome, Zach. I appreciate that and your thought process, and you nailed it. Three things to do. I have to totally agree with you that getting somebody like a mentor involved is massively critical. And we will be working with the teams that are in the competition to get them mentors. And of course, that's something that if you have some of that guidance to help you get through, it can make a world of difference. And of course, like you mentioned, rehearsal and having a passion for what you're doing beyond just, I think I can make $1 million on this, can make a big difference. So thank you for both of you for your winning thoughts. And of course, thank you for sharing your contact information. So that's something along those lines. Let's move to, actually, I see we got one question. Oh, this actually relates to what you mentioned about capstone courses. If I'm taking a capstone course, can I join the competition? Absolutely. In fact, frequently the teams that we work with are capstone teams, right? They're already preformed. They've already been working on an idea. And this is a chance to really refine it beyond, beyond just a simple, the project you do for class. You make a presentation in week 10 and, hope you get a good grade. This allows you to really try to up that game during the spring, especially, and bring it from being a class project to being a potential product. And there's a difference in where that product can end up in those 3 months, 4 months, because you've got to focus on some of the other design elements that come with the workshops, as well as a business and entrepreneurial aspect that really adds to it. So, but that's very much a possibility. So that's a great question. Zach, I'll let you answer this. And Ayushi, if you have a thought as well, there's another one in here that came up. This a little bit of a loaded question, but Zach, how many hours a week should we dedicate to this competition to help us be successful per person, ideally, and not combined, right? So how many hours per person on a team would you estimate it's going to take to win this thing? Both you and Ayushi can give comments. I won't say that it's 45.
I have 2 ways to answer this question. I'll go through both quickly. When I was going through David's entrepreneurship classes as an undergrad, he had a concept of a 10 by 10 challenge where you put in 10 hours a week for 10 weeks and you see what happens. And if you have a team of 4 or 5 people each doing that, I think you'll be pretty effective. So that's the easy, nice time-boxed answer that you can take and run with. The thing that I'll say that I did, and this is something I wanted to put in the initial kind of talking points, but I didn't. There's a lot of people who want to win this. There's a lot of people, slightly fewer, who think they're going to win. I really am interested in who already knows they're going to win. That was me at the start of this. I knew I was going to win. I called my shot. I am curious to see if there's anybody in the audience right now or watching the recording who already knows that they're going to win this thing. And for those people, you put in as much time as it takes. And that's what me and my team did. I was going through a senior design project, had a job I was going through, all this other stuff, but I did as much as I could. And that was the real answer. We built 15 versions of our MVP, went through rehearsals until 3 a.m. the night before I pitched. And so I just put as much time as possible into it. And that's my answer. So I'll close there.
Good. Ayushi, do you want to add a little bit to that?
Yeah, I think I think you can find a good way to be efficient. So you have to first, there's multiple topics, right? There's the business side of things, pitching, deck, all of that jazz. So find out who is great at what, and then allocate the tasks that way. So you're not trying to reteach something when it's crunch time. For product demo, do as much practice as possible. I remember I had called the entire team the night before, and we had practiced just putting the device on the head multiple times, making sure everything worked, including the software, things of that sort. So do as many rehearsals as you can. For the research side, if you're already familiar with the problem statement, it should be very easy to fine tune. Then focus on customer interviews and getting your value proposition honed in. So I think it depends. If you're I think the 10 by 10 rule is pretty good framework to go with though.
That's awesome. And I'm glad to hear the whole 10 by 10 thing coming up.
Oh, David, can I mention something? So we knew that this competition money was going to go in the company. So we really did whatever it took to get that check because we had costs we were going to pay for. So it really depends. And there's not enough. So you can always overdo it, which is better than underdoing and regretting.
Very good point. Yeah, and that's the best use of the funds, I believe. Right, Cabo's great, but using the funds for the company is obviously a great use. All right, so let's jump in if we can to get you through this so that you can get on with your day. The competition due dates. So the first step, there's no due date per se because you can do this when you need to, but I highly suggest you do that, and maybe we can get it into the chat window for you. Is to just let us know you want to enter, right? You can do this by yourself. You can actually, there's the ability for you to add all your team members if you know who they are. It's completely flexible. If you drop a teammate, you add yourself to a different team, it's all malleable, but it just gives us an idea that you're interested and that you have an intent to enter the competition in some form or fashion, right? Thanks, Brian, for putting it into the chat window. You can do that during this presentation. It would be my recommendation. Open it up, just put your own name and email in, even if you don't have teammates yet. If you don't know the company or concept name, that's fine. Just put don't know yet. That's perfectly fine, right? And what we're doing is just getting an idea because we need to allocate mentors and make sure that we're getting the help that you need. If you need a special kind of teammate or something, you can always contact us. But this is that first stage to really get an idea as to who's interested and in what level. In April, so you've got all of the rest of this quarter finals and spring break and all that. And then when we come back, there'll be a product specifications that's due April 11th. Right? There'll be a template up on the website for you. I think it's actually might be up already, right? That you can use. Well, we're going to walk through it in the workshop so that you have some idea about it. But it's really there as a product specification. Give us an idea as to what you're looking to create. One of the great things is we take that, and unlike almost any competition I've ever seen in collegiate entrepreneurship and design, we actually do a judge review in the middle of the competition. And Tony, when he talks, maybe even mention that. About that, what that was like. But it's a midpoint review where we can help you get some course corrections if you need them. We can applaud the things that you're doing wonderfully, and we can help you course correct. And I remember one team several years ago came in and they were going to do this new Bluetooth technology for, you could track things in a room and all this stuff. And we said, look, you're trying to do this for everything. You've got retail and you want to do it at sports stadiums and you want to do it in museums and amusement parks. And it was all over the place. We said, that's great. It can work everywhere, but you really need to find a market that you can design your product to, where you're making the product really specifically valuable to that particular market. Go find the market you like, research a little bit. Here's how you do it. Come back and tell us which one. And the team chose museums. And I remember all the judges saying, why museums? Like, what you could have done retail, which is huge. And you could have, and when we got to the Q&A, we said, why did you go with museums? And she said, we did what you told us. We did our homework. there are more people that go to museums every year in America than all sporting events and amusement parks combined. And all of us did what Dean Green just did. We went, what? And we were all of us were proven wrong as judges that we thought that maybe sports or retail or something would be best. They did their homework. They had the slide to back it up, and they found a great niche to go after. And they worked on that project for a couple of years after the competition. So it's really a great midpoint. They really took the advice to heart. The great thing is, whatever feedback you get, it doesn't count towards your score. So you don't have to worry if you completely botch this first product specification. That's okay. It's here. We're here to help you get the course corrected and get you on a good path. Now, in May, you'll have the chance to submit your final product and business case. And that's going to be a document where you say, look, here's what we're actually doing as a product. Here's some business case elements as to why we think this is a good market. And you're also going to include a video demo this year. Because of the pandemic, we're going to be operating differently. Normally, we would have you come in and do a live demo. You're sweating bullets. You come in, you're holding wires together with duct tape and asking friends if you can use their shoelace, kind of thing, right? And this time, what we're going to do is we're going to allow you to have that opportunity because you're remote, you're in different places trying to get things pulled together, that you can take the video, you can have your demo being created in 5 different places if that's what you're doing, and you can splice the video together to make it so it's a demo, right? We're giving you a lot more flexibility. Instead of that live boardroom demo, we'll let you do it on a video instead. And then we'll explain what the template looks like for the paperwork. And then we'll have a demo day where we will have watched those, and it'll really focus around clarifying questions of your demo and doing a Q&A session with you as judges. And that'll be our chance to really dive deeper with you as a team and find out what you're really trying to do. I see Kevin asked a question. The form intended can only be viewed. We'll get that fixed for you, Kevin. That's a minor error. So then we have demo day, basically, right? And so these are the major competition dates, with, of course, there being one more that's the most significant, right? This is the awards night. We'll have, unfortunately, we won't have, nice cocktails and nice pizza and everything for you. Instead, we'll have this great virtual environment, but we'll be giving out the prizes on May 24th. So that's the concept. I want to really quickly go through something that will be up on the site. There's a schedule. These weeks represents winter and spring, and the week numbers and the day. And you can see we're at the kickoff right now. There are some design workshops, and then your product spec is due. And then you'll notice we've integrated some of the new venture competition workshops. We believe, and we work very closely with the new venture competition to make sure that things that you hear on one side can really benefit the other. In fact, I know some people that are here tonight are from the new venture competition looking for computer science students or engineering students to work with. But you can see both of these are, both sides, be it Beall and Butterworth as well as New Venture, are allowed to attend each other's workshops, basically, because they're valuable on both. And so you can see there's plenty of workshops. The ones that say design workshop will be run specifically by the Beall and Butterworth programs. The topics that to highlight those, next week will be introduction to key design concepts. You've probably learned a little bit about design. We're going to try to frame that in a commercial way if we can, where it goes beyond some theory and really says, okay, what really makes a great product or a good design for a product? After the break, we're going to come back and do putting the end user in the driver's seat. And then workshop 3 is about prototyping. Workshop 4, that'll come after that midpoint review, is actually designing hardware and designing software. The hope is to split and have 2 different presenters that are focused in those specific areas to really give you a bit more of like what it's really like to do hardware design. I mean, Ayushi's been dealing with this for years, 2 years now, of what the iterative process it takes with hardware, and the difference there is, right, to software, where you can sometimes change one line and you're off and running through a new iteration. So we'll split that up. And then the last one is going to be done by someone you're going to hear from really soon, where we talk about going beyond products and really about designing experiences for people, because that's where a lot of product design is moving. And you can see it's all intertwined with the major dates. All of these, of course, are going to be up on the website for you. So you don't have to worry about trying to copy them down or anything. We'll have all of them. If you do the intent to enter, we will make sure, obviously, you're made aware through the website as well as through some emails. So one great question before we move on to Tony, to give him his warning, he's coming up. Can I compete in both the New Venture Competition and the Beall or Butterworth? So the answer is yes, you can compete in New Venture and Beall and Butterworth. You cannot compete in both Beall and Butterworth, right? You have to choose which one you're going to compete in. But you can all do that as well as the New Venture Competition. In fact, that's something that many people do. I know there are a handful of people that have put their information into the chat window that have said, I'm from the New Venture Competition. I've already got the idea started. I really need someone to help me with the computer science or the engineering side. Another question was, where can we get this PowerPoint? As soon as we're done, we're going to let Zoom do the video processing, and we'll post both the PowerPoint and the recording of this up on the website. So that should be up tomorrow or later this week for sure. But yeah, you'll definitely have access to this. And with that, I want to take a moment to introduce one of our esteemed judges from, I don't know how many years he's been doing this, Tony, but at least 5 or 7 or something like that. Tony is an anteater. He bleeds anteater. The only person I know that's more anteater than Tony is Goran. If you know Goran, he's like the ultimate anteater. But Tony has been a judge and a mentor, and I thought we'd give him a chance to give you an idea of some of what it's like from the judge and mentor side, and some of the things that you can really do to be impressive to the judges. So Tony, it's all you.
Sure. Hey guys, 8 years ago, I was in your spot, but instead of being a student, I was a mentor who came in, and I tell you, it was 12 months of a lot of hard work, as Zach mentioned, and Ayushi mentioned. And, for us during that period of time, there was a lot of whiteboarding sessions trying to figure out, what are we going to do? What are we going to build? How are we going to build it? Who are we building it for? And then you end up going through that period of time, and you end up in the last week, which is pretty much hell week. And we're not sleeping, lots of late nights. I'm sure, Zach and Aisha can attend to that too. It's like, but you're putting your passion into building this thing that you guys are competing for. And then I think my main tip in going through that process was the fact that we were able to really focus on one problem, really focus on one individual, one person who has a problem that we wanted to solve. And by doing that, we were able to win the competition, and we end up getting a big check. And since that time, I've been a judge for this competition. So I want to talk about a couple things. First, as far as the judges go, we're here to help you guys. We're not here to hurt your feelings. We're here to collaborate with you, collaborate with your mentors. We're going to give you constructive criticism, which I know last times is not easy to hear, but we would love for all of you to have the opportunity to walk away with the big $10,000 check. So let me go over some of the key points for the competition. There's 4 of them. So the first one is, as you guys are developing your idea. So the idea, which is about 20% of your score, the main thing, again, as Zach mentioned earlier, we want it to be unique. We're not looking for a LinkedIn for gamers, even though that was something that just came out and got $6 million worth of funding called eFuse. But think of something that maybe that you guys are experiencing. Think of a problem that you guys personally are feeling. Think about some pains or some issues that you guys are dealing with that you want to solve. That's gonna be one of the best areas for you to start. Think of a problem and a pain that you guys want to focus on. Number 2 is design. So after you guys figure out, what this problem is that you guys want to solve, you need to design your product. So when we're talking about design, what the judges want to see is not, don't get it confused with making something pretty. Design for this competition is really more about, decreasing friction. Great design is going to disappear. Great design is going to be, think of it as being intuitive. Something that's not going to make your users think. That'll be design. And then the last 2 parts is going to be demo and presentation. I'm going to talk about them together. And this is 50% of your score. This is the big one, which is going to be demo day. Think of this part as you want to, when you guys are coming in for demo day, you want to invite the judges into a story. You want us to come in and you want us to understand what the problem is. You want us to feel the pain, the frustration that the user's feeling. Whatever it is that they may be experiencing, put us into that story, give us their current situation. And then you want to take us along the journey of experiencing your product. So now we're going to demo, or you're going to demonstrate how your product is going to solve that problem that we have. It's going to eliminate that pain, that frustration, those negative emotions that we're feeling. And you're going to take them on this journey where you're going to show us, right? You're going to demo, you're going to demonstrate how your product is going to solve that problem. And ideally, we're going to be able to empathize and feel that wonderful experience. I guess at that point, we'll really understand, whether or not you guys are actually able to solve that problem or not. And at the very end, we want to understand, I think as Ayushi and Zach mentioned too, is like, what is the impact that you're going to have on that one person's life? How does it transform them? How does it make their life better? And it may be starting with that one person, but then beyond that, maybe you can explain to us and show and explain to us how this can affect a lot of lives. This can make the world better in some sense. So my tip for all of you, I would say, is if you want to win, focus on empathizing with a person who is having a single problem. Dive deep into that, and hopefully all the different questions and problems that you have will slowly become self-evident from that. So good luck, and zat, zat, zat.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. And behind the scenes, Tony was generous enough to volunteer to give these thoughts, but behind the scenes, we also have, as just attendees right now, a handful of judges. I'm looking down the list. I see Angela's here. I see, who else do I see? The list is, my eyes are going bad. John's here. Jojo, I see. Let's see, Mark is here, and Patrick. So Zach, I see you there, right? So I want to take a minute to thank the judges and the mentors who take their time to do this. You can imagine as students what the workload is to pick up a team and really try to help them go someplace. So thank you, Tony, for all the work you've done, both as a competitor and now as a mentor and a judge going forward. But let's finish this up so we can get you guys off to your evening. There's plenty of resources. We're going to do a lot more resource linking on the website in the coming days. But one of them, if you haven't heard of the Entrepreneur Center, I highly recommend you take a chance to go work with them. They have a tremendous amount of programming and a lot of resource for you to be able to tap into to really explore the entrepreneurial and the business side. But a lot of that in the early days revolves around product market fit, which has a lot to do with design and product development. So you'll find it very valuable. It's not on there, but Entrepreneur, spelled with the A-N-T, .uci.edu is a great way to go for that. Beall Applied Innovation, if you're not familiar with them, is a massive 110,000 square foot facility with a tremendous amount of resource available to entrepreneurs. It's a great way to go and just be a part of the entrepreneurial ecosystem. COVID has thrown a monkey wrench in that, but they're still doing a lot of virtual events where you can still have a great chance to meet a tremendous amount of people. The Beall Center at the Mirage Business School is a center for innovation and entrepreneurship. They're the organization that runs the new venture competition. I highly encourage you to participate in their workshops as well. And if you can compete, you'll find that the students that compete in the Beall and Butterworth competition that go and compete in the new venture competition typically have a huge edge because they're walking in with a product or a service that they've been hammering at to try to win the Beall and Butterworth competitions. So I encourage you to consider the new venture competition. Wayfinder is an incubator over at the Beall Applied Innovation Center that is designed to help teams get up off the ground. So that's something you may not tap into quite yet, but certainly look at it for when you're done. And then one of the most underutilized resources on the campus is the good old fashioned, 200-year-old concept or whatever of a library. And I know it sounds crazy and dry and like, I don't want to do more research. But again, you'll get these slides, but these two links are golden for you when you start looking into building out your business case and really understanding some design elements. I'll start with the second one. This library guide on entrepreneurship has every resource that the library has all cataloged for you to say, if you're looking for market size, or you're looking for comparable companies, or you're looking for, any of these resources, it's all just there for you. And you click on it. And as long as you have a UCI ID, you can get access to almost all of it. Right. And then the one that's right above it that doesn't have a fancy link is actually a class guide for an engineering class. I don't remember the exact name, but it's something like Entrepreneurship for Technologists. And I think it's called 180 and 280 as an undergrad and graduate course. This has a special page just for that class about what it's like to be an entrepreneur for a technologist, somebody who's coming from a technical background. So I encourage you definitely to take a peek at that. Most important, I'm sure what you're looking for is what are the next steps. First, do the intent to enter. It's in the chat window if you haven't done it yet. I highly encourage you to do it. Again, there's no obligation. We're not saying you have to stick to any of it. It just gives us an idea that you want to be on the mail list and that you have an intent, and it'll give us a chance to reach out to you and try to support you in any way that we can. And let's see, the next one is workshop number 1 is next week. I encourage you to take this link as well, and we're going to send this email out to you as well. That maybe Brian can put it in the window for you. But next week, same time on a Monday, we're going to do the first workshop that's talking about design. And I highly encourage you to share this with your friends. If you have other students that you're familiar with that might join your team, let people know about it. Other people in your capstone courses, all of that's very valuable. Stay up to date with everything that's on the website. Of course, if we have your intent to enter, we will definitely keep you in the loop without a problem on that. Again, product specifications are due on April 11th. One of the things that we're doing new this year, we haven't formalized it, but we're going to get that up and running in the next week, is the idea of creating office hours where you can stop in or set an appointment to just ask a question about the competition. Hey, I'm stuck on this. Do you think this would be enough of a demo for me to do? Can I do this without it being too overwhelming? I'm stuck getting a team member. Is this concept valuable? I couldn't figure out the library resource. Give me a hand. Whatever it is, it's an ask me anything kind of office hour. So we're going to get that set up and emailed out to you so that you can take advantage of that. It'll be me, as well as I'm hoping to be able to pull in some judges and mentors as well to do some ad hoc office hours as well. The last thing is just get started. It's really easy to be in the kickoff, get all excited and say, but it's not till April that I got to do something. It's okay. Get started now. Start thinking about those things that are going to make a difference for you. Because the teams that start early, like Zach talked about, and really just pound their way through and keep pushing are the ones that really do seem to succeed and really wow the judges in the end and get them across the finish line. I really like what Zach said, declare that you're going to be the winner now and work towards that all the way through, right? Decide now as you're going to call the shot, as you said, and then make it happen. We're in a unique year. I think you've got a lot of opportunity to really to impress people with your work. So with that, we want to say thank you. This is the judges from a few years ago. We are not as serious as we look in this photo. We have a lot of fun with this. We hope you will have a lot of fun too. I will stick around and answer any questions, and any of the panelists that are willing to, but if there aren't any, we'll let everyone get to their evening. If you have a question, you can go ahead and put it in the chat window, or better is even in the Q&A. Any questions we can answer for anyone before we let you guys get to your dinners? We'll wait a second to let people type. That's not always the easiest thing. It's a lot faster to just unmute.
Quick question for you, David. How did you jump so high in the air in the back of this picture?
Yeah, I'm not as high as you'd think, right? We learned the secret when we were doing the trampoline at the Entrepreneur Center, right? The key is raise from your knees, right? Take your toes and your heels and move them as high as you can. I'm really not that high. It just looks higher. My favorite is Tony over here. Tony's the one who's impressing all of us, right? That's the man himself. Very good. Let's see, we've got one question. How do you suggest we connect with business school peers? What a great question, Matt. The best way I would recommend would be to go to the workshop. On the new venture competition side, the workshops are happening. They're on the list of workshops. Visit that is one of the easiest ways. Every time we're doing a workshop on that side, everyone says, I need to meet computer science people. Where can I find engineers? Help me. And yet we're over here saying, I need a business person. Where's a business person? It's like, the watering holes are just, literally 200 yards apart, but right now it's all virtual, but the workshops are a great chance to be able to do that. So very good question though. Go to the new venture competition workshops. They'll be a huge help. Great question. If my concept has both hardware and software, can I compete in both? The answer is you can't compete in both, but you can choose which one you think you're going to be best suited for. Everything in hardware involves software. Everything in software involves some sort of hardware. Like there's a reality that they're intertwined. But there are some things where the focus of your real design and innovation is on the hardware side. You're inventing something new in hardware, putting pieces together, and you're iterating that 30 times, right? And then you need software to support that. And there's other things where, of course, you need the iPad and you need off-the-shelf hardware, but your real innovation is taking place in the designs that are occurring on the software side. Which one you choose will be up to you. But obviously, you have to have a student in one or the other schools in order to compete in each of them. But you can't compete in both. You can only pick one. Two other questions here. How can we decide between NVC and Beall Butterworth? The great thing is you don't have to, right? You can compete in the new venture competition. They're very compatible in terms of what you're creating and some of the process you're going through, along with Beall and Butterworth. They fit in perfectly together, so you don't have to do that for sure. Let's see, most likely given the time commitment, it's probably only practical to do one competition. No, because there's a tremendous amount of overlap. The better you make the design of your product, the far better you're going to do in the new venture competition. The better you understand the market you're going after and some of the stuff they're focused on at the business school, the better you're going to do in understanding what you need to design to make your market happy, right? And so they're really intertwined. We are just scoring the design and product development side on a heavier weight. They will do some weighting on that, but they're going to do a lot more on the business side. So we're really balanced together that if you do one, you're helping the other, and vice versa. If you do the new venture competition, it's going to help you on the Beall and Butterworth side. So I would recommend doing both. Most students don't find it to be overwhelming. The deliverables are really not that different. They are different to an extent, but we're not talking about an extra 40 hours of difference in work. You're going to do a demo at the new venture competition. You might as well do a demo for us at Beall and Butterworth too, right? And vice versa. But good question though. And then we had another one here from Eric that is, will we be using Flipgrid like NVC to confirm the workshops on Mondays will have breakouts where we can meet one another? The answer is yes, we're likely going to do Flipgrid. I've talked to Brianna about how effective that's been and what we can do to make it so it'll work here. So the other option was to actually use New Venture Competition's Flipgrid. For those of you who don't know, Flipgrid is a video platform where you can post a video and then you can find teammates and engage with people in their concepts. We may end up using theirs so that you can have access to some business students and they can have access to computer science students. I'm working that out with Brianna right now, but we'll do something like that. And then, yes, we are going to have breakout time so that teams can get together. It won't be a webinar setup like this. Everyone will be in a standard Zoom room, and it'll give us a chance to do that well. So yes, you absolutely will get the chance to meet. And then one last one here from Kevin. Will the founder and business students get a chance to meet the computer science students today or in a future event? Unfortunately, not today. We're doing it based on a webinar format. But in future events, all the workshops, both on the New Venture Competition and the Beall and Butterworth side, very much so will have the interaction time. So this is a unique one in the sense of the kickoff and for the recording and everything. That's a little different. What great questions you guys had. So Ayesha did mention, in case you didn't see it in there, that Sensen did both NVC and Beall, and there's a ton of overlap there. That's absolutely true. Does business plan play an important role for winning the competition? The max on it's 20%. Right. And so it plays a role, but it's not nearly as pronounced as the business competition, over at the Mirage School. And so, Ty, I think your question is very valid. I will say, though, that to create good design, you need to know your market and who you're trying to design for. You can't really design and not understand the end user and the customer that you plan to hit. So there's a lot of overlap between them. Given that we've run into about the hour mark, I appreciate all of your input and your thoughts. This recording and of course the slides and everything will be up on the website. Panelists, any last thoughts before we let you guys go?
Best wishes, and hope try to prepare great demos. I think that's a great, exciting addition this year. So
wonderful. Tony?
I'm excited to see what everyone comes up with. Good luck, everybody.
Very good. Dean Green?
Good luck. Wish you the best.
Awesome. Dean Marios?
I had to repeat it. Good luck to everyone.
All right, Zach, you're the only one left.
I love what Tony said about focus on a single person, focus on one person's problem and try to solve for that and see if it can scale to more people. I thought that was a great point. And I'm excited to see what everybody comes up with. It's a good opportunity. It's a fantastic opportunity. And it's fun because you get to build something. You're not just kind of putting a pitch out there in the world. You're really building a thing. So it's exciting. Good luck, everyone.
Very good. And I'll end with one last thing, which is just do it. It's worth the try. You will find yourself enjoying it. It'll be a tough work, but it's something that really does pay off in the end. I'll mention the email here, bbcomp@uci.edu, and the tech.uci.edu/competitions links for you that are there. Good luck. Thank you, panelists, especially both deans. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedules to come and represent the schools and provide your insights. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all panelists. Thank you for being here. Great questions, and good luck in the competition. And we'll see you guys soon. Take care. Zot, zot, zot.